So there's a fallacy or a bad way of reasoning called begging the question. And to beg the question is to give a question-begging argument. So you are giving a conclusion with a premise or reason, and that reason just assumes the conclusion. You wouldn't believe the premise or reason unless you already believe the conclusion. So the standard example of a question-begging argument is this. Conclusion: God exists. Well, why think that? Well, somebody offers this premise. Well, God wrote the Bible, and in the Bible, God says God exists. That premise, of course, assumes that God exists, so this is question begging. If you were wondering, does God exist or not, and somebody gave you this reason to believe that, you'd be like, well, look, this argument just assumes that God exists, and what I'm trying to figure out is whether there's a good reason to believe that God exists. So question begging arguments assume the conclusion that they're supposed to support. So these are very common about all sorts of topics, especially in ethics. So let me just give a few examples. Somebody says, I think homosexuality is wrong. Well, why is that? Well, I just think it's wrong for two people of the same sex to be together. That's my reason. Well, that reason basically is just saying homosexuality is wrong in different words. So that reason just assumes the conclusion. Here are a few question-begging arguments about abortion. I think abortion's wrong because I just think that if a woman gets pregnant, she's got to stay pregnant and she can't get an abortion. Well, that premise basically just assumes that abortion is wrong. On the other side, I think abortion is okay. Why is that? Well, I just think women have the right to have abortions. Well, saying that women have the right to have abortions might amount to be saying something like, well, I just think abortion's okay. It's permissible for women to do that. More examples. Somebody says, I think it's okay to eat meat. Why is that? Well, if people want to eat meat, then it's okay for them to eat meat. That is just stating that conclusion as a reason in different words. So these are just a few examples of very simple and common question-begging arguments. But in general, the concern is this. When you give somebody a reason, well, to believe something, that reason can't just be that something. It's got to be something different. So if it's the same thing in different words, it very likely is a question-begging argument. You are sort of going in a circle. You're not giving any sort of genuine reason. So the question is this. If you give anybody a reason, does it just assume the conclusion you're trying to support? If so, it's question-begging, and question-begging arguments are always bad, so you always want to avoid them. I hope this helps.